hand-foot coordination. It is a well-rehearsed driving strategy which involves anticipation, reaction, and the constant changing of the space between your vehicle and other vehicles. You must continually strive for improvement. Improvement can be measured in your elimination of risk-taking, your adherence to speed limits, and your ability to take corrective action when necessary. Experienced drivers, on the other hand, are often faced with problems of carelessness, overconfidence, and bad driving habits that are developed over time. Changes have taken place in cars and trucks, and driving rules and techniques. The amount of traffic is constantly increasing. Your ability to adjust and adapt to these changes will determine how safe a driver you really are. Your knowledge should include recognition of the hazards of driving and how to protect yourself. Trouble spots where one finds hazards include intersections, crosswalks, lanes next to parked cars, parking lot entrances, interchanges where cars enter and leave, slippery or ice-covered streets where children are at play. Most of what we do as a defensive driver is in response to what we see while driving. Avoid a fixed stare. Keep your eyes moving and learn to read the traffic. Avoid driving in someone else's blind spot. This can be just as dangerous as not checking your own. Speed up or drop back, but never stay for an extended time in a blind spot area. Make sure your vehicle can be seen by other drivers. Do not rely on your mirrors alone to see other vehicles. Turn your head quickly to see if the way is clear. Communications means clearly showing other drivers and pedestrians what you plan to do early enough to avoid a collision. Anytime you plan to change directions, use your turn signals, whether you are changing lanes, turning at an intersection, entering a freeway, pulling away from a curb, or pulling off to the side of the road. Develop the habit of using your turn signals even when you do not see other vehicles on the road. The vehicle you do not see is the most dangerous one. Here are some rules to follow. Signal at least 4 seconds before you turn, so other drivers will have time to react. If you plan to turn beyond an intersection, do not signal until you are in the intersection. Drivers in the intersection may pull out in front of you. After you complete your move, be sure your turn signals are off. The space cushion. The space between you and other vehicles gives you and the other drivers time to react to emergencies and to avoid collisions. Create a space cushion around you by staying in the middle of your lane. Make sure there is enough room ahead and behind to pass or stop safely. When sharing a lane with a bicycle, try to allow 2 to 4 feet of clearance between you and the bicycle. Moderate your speed. At high speeds, your vehicle may cause a gust of wind that would knock the bicyclist to the ground. Be alert for the bicycle swerving. Leave enough space between you and the car ahead of you to allow for a sudden stop. At high speeds, the distance your vehicle travels while you are reacting to a problem is greater and your margin for error is less. If you are following too closely, you may not be able to stop in time. At any speed, you can use the 2-second rule to determine if you have enough cushion between you and the vehicle you are following. You can help the driver behind you maintain a safe following distance by driving at a constant speed and signaling in advance whenever you are slowing or stopping. After all, you know what you are going to do, but the other drivers do not. If another driver follows you too closely, move to another lane if there is room. Or when the road ahead is clear, gradually slow down and move to the right. These actions should encourage the tailgater to pass you. Remember, what you do can affect the driver behind you, especially if you must stop suddenly. Compromise. Another important defensive driving skill is compromise. When you cannot separate risks and you must deal with two or more at the same time, compromise by giving the most room to either the greatest or the most likely danger. For example, suppose you are driving on a two-lane street with oncoming cars to your left and a child riding a bicycle to your right. The child is the most likely to move suddenly, so you need a larger space cushion to the right. This is a case moving closer to the center of the lane is the correct compromise. Avoiding rear-end collisions. Many crashes happen because one vehicle runs into the back of another one. Here are some things you can do to lower the risk of someone running into the rear of your vehicle. Check your brake lights often and make sure they are clean and working properly. Know what is going on behind you. Use your rear view mirrors. Signal well in advance for turns, stops, and lane changes. Slow down gradually. Avoid any sudden actions. Drive with the flow of traffic within the speed limit. Driving too slowly can be as dangerous as driving too fast. To avoid striking the vehicle in front of you, keep at least 2 seconds following distance. Protecting yourself in accidents. Most drivers hit the brakes first to avoid an accident. This sometimes locks the wheels unless you have anti-lock brakes. The car begins skidding, making things worse. Remember, you can do 3 things to avoid an accident. You can stop quickly, turn, or speed up. If you stop quickly, apply firm, steady pressure on the brake. If the car begins to skid, release the brake. Step on the brake again, using firm, steady pressure. Repeat this process until the car stops. Note, anti-lock brakes may not be pumped. If you don't have time to stop, turn. Run off the road if you have to, if there is room. Running off the road is usually better than hitting another car. Try not to brake as you turn. Sometimes you can speed up to avoid an accident. This may work if a car is going to hit you on the side or rear. If you can't avoid an accident, protect yourself as well as you can. If you're going to be hit from the rear, be ready to brake so that you won't be pushed into another car. If you're going to be hit from the side, brace yourself with the steering wheel. Perhaps you can keep yourself from being thrown against the side of the car. If you're going to be hit from the front, use your arms and hands to protect your face if you're wearing a shoulder strap. If you're not using a shoulder strap, throw yourself across the street so that you don't hit the steering column or the windshield.